Alright, you lot, it's Q&A time. And you've thrown some brilliant questions, some mental questions, and one of them sent me down a rabbit hole so deep I nearly needed a rescue team. So settle in, because I've done research, I've got me brew, and I'm in that special mood where I love you all, but I also want to argue with everyone on planet Earth. We start this week with DroneNet. OS, what do you think about upcoming marathon game? Right, we're going on a journey here. See, when you say marathon to me, I don't think of some shiny extraction shooter with art style that looks like someone ate a packet of Skittles and threw up on a cyberpunk mood board. I think 1994, Apple Macintosh, a little studio called Bungie, before they were bought, sold, passed around like a dodgy tenner in a car boot sale. Marathon were doing plot-driven first-person shooters while everyone else were just running around Doom going, "Where's Red Key?" It had bloody free look before free look were even a concept. It were ahead of its time in every way. And now they've taken that name, that legacy, and they've gone, yeah, let's make another extraction shooter. Brilliant! What's next? Remaking Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild as a battle royale? Actually, don't answer that. Someone's probably already doing it. So here's where we are. Bungie's had the Server Slam running this week, February 26th to March 2nd. Cross-platform, PS5, Xbox, PC. Everyone's invited. Full launch is March 5th. £40. And I've been watching. I ain't played it myself, but I've been watching creators who have, and look, I'll be fair. Gunplay's apparently decent. It's Bungie, innit? They know how to make shooting feel good. That's like saying a Michelin star chef can boil an egg. Of course they can. But it's a problem. You load into a match, an extraction shooter, and you can go an entire session without seeing another player. Entire sessions in an extraction shooter. That's like going to a boxing match and both fighters just don't turn up. Well, I walked around ring for 20 minutes, picked up some nice gloves, went to them. Riveting stuff. And UI? Oh, mate, people are losing their minds over it. It's been described as an absolute eyesore. And honestly, looking at it, I can see why. It's like someone designed a menu system specifically to punish you for having eyes. Players don't know where they are, what they're looking at, or what they're supposed to be doing. Bungie's response? Yeah, we hear you. Good post on Discord. Oh, cheers. That's comforting. The house is on fire. But yeah, I'll pop on Discord and fill out a survey. Then there's mouse input lag, which is just... It's 2026, lads. Mouse lag. And Bungie's fix. Close Discord entirely. Not just an overlay or streaming. Close all of it. So you can either talk to your mates or play a game, but not both. 143,000 concurrent on Steam. Sounds impressive. And yeah, it's miles ahead of Concord, which couldn't even crack 1,000. And it's beaten iGuard's all-time peak. But there's a difference between curiosity and commitment. A lot of those numbers are people poking their head in because it's free, going, what's all this then? Looking at a menu that feels like reading hieroglyphs after 6 pints, and backing out slowly. Look, I genuinely hope I'm wrong. I do. I don't want to see Bungie go under. These are talented people who made some decent games. But this thing launches at £40 into a market where Art Raiders is doing everything more accessibly, more socially, and frankly more fun, and it's asking players to invest hours before it clicks. One reviewer literally said it's like trying to understand an academic dissertation. Mate, if I wanted that, I'd go back to university. I play games to escape that bollocks, so I don't see it surviving long term. And that's not spite, that's sadness. Because somewhere under all that visual noise and corporate live service thinking, there's probably a good game trying to get out. Cheers for that, mate. Hopefully Bungie can turn things around on that. Now then, Firkin hell ass. Hey Scotty, I wonder if you can give me an insight on what you would say to anyone you know you caught cheating in a game. For example, you find your son using walls or aimbot. What would true Yorkshireman say? What would I say? Not. I'd say absolutely not. Because they'd be fucking unconscious, mate. I wouldn't need words. They'd need an ambulance. Both my lads know full well that if I ever caught either of them running walls or aimbot, a conversation would be a luxury they wouldn't be conscious enough to enjoy. That's a Yorkshire father's approach to proper discipline. We don't do intervention meetings. We do intensive care. But here's where it gets interesting, right? Because there's a bigger picture that people aren't seeing. I read this on PlaySafe ID report from 2025. Gaming's Cheating Crisis. Proper fancy title. And their big headline number was that 4 out of 5 players have encountered cheaters. 80%. And I read that and I thought, bollocks. I'm sorry, but that number is complete and utter bollocks. And I'll tell you why. See, what's actually happened, and I've watched this unfold in real time, is that we've created this culture of paranoia. It's the exact same thing that's happened with AI. Exact same pattern. 2 years ago, if someone posted a nice bit of digital art online, people would go, "Oh, that's lovely, well done." Nah, that's AI slop. I can tell by pixels. Reported. Same thing's happening in gaming. Someone kills you 'cause they're better than you. Cheater! Someone hits headshot you wouldn't have hit. Hacker. Someone does something you couldn't do. Walls. It's not skill recognition anymore. It's a witch hunt where everyone's guilty 'cause nobody wants to admit they just got fucking outplayed. Me own lad, 21 years old, plays Fortnite with his mate, right? And this mate, every single time someone gets better at him, it's cheaters, hackers, without fail. Don't matter if it's a lucky shot, better angle, superior positioning, it's always cheats. Always. It's never, fair play, he got me. It's always something external to blame. And that mentality, that's not one bloke being paranoid. That's generation-wide problem. When I was gaming in my 20s, if someone killed me, I'd go, right, what did they do better? And try to learn from it. But kids now are straight to the report button like it's a panic alarm. And here's one that really opened my eyes. My other son, separate incident, got shadow banned in Modern Warfare 3, 2023 version. Why? Because he and I had a bad run. SBMM dropped us in a lower skill lobby, and he decided to have a laugh and run around with just melee attacks. Killed entire enemy team with a knife. They reported him, all of them, shadow banned for being too good with a knife in a lobby he shouldn't have really been in, because broken matchmaking system put in there. That's not cheating, that's SBMM doing what SBMM does, rubber banding your experience until nobody knows what skill level they actually are. This is where Team Ricochet's own data's damning. Yeah, I know, it's Ricochet, and trusting Ricochet is like trusting a fox to guard their nose. But even they admit that 75% of players sitting in limited matchmaking, which is their fancy term for shadow bans, were innocent. 75%. 3/4 at shadow ban players did no wrong. They were flagged by automated systems or by salty enemies who couldn't handle losing. That's not a cheating crisis, that's a trust crisis. It's a community so poisoned by SBMM and suspicion that they've weaponised the report button into a tool of revenge. And yeah, cheating's real. Of course it is. Hardware cheats exist. Software cheats exist. And there are proper scumbags out there using them. But when you've got billions of gamers worldwide across every platform, every genre, every server region, and somehow 80% have supposedly encountered a cheater, either every cheater on Earth is working 20-hour shifts across every game simultaneously, which is statistically impossible, or, and this is what I believe, vast majority of those encounters were just someone better who got reported because losing hurts more than thinking does. I'll let you decide which is more likely. Cheers for that, Firkinell. Maybe I should do a deeper dive on cheating pandemic. Let me know in comments if you want to see that. Right, let's lighten the mood a bit. Free games. Because despite everything being on fire in the gaming industry, at least someone's still giving stuff away. Here's what you can grab this week, and as always, even if you're not going to play them right now, claim them. They're free. You'd pick up a quid off payment, wouldn't you? Same principle. Over on Epic Games, first up is Boxes, Lost Fragments. You're a legendary thief breaking into a mansion full of puzzle boxes. Sounds simple enough, but apparently it goes real dark and you end up trapped. Think of it like one of those escape room games, but on PC. Looks interesting enough, and for now, I'll give it a crack. Also on Epic is My Night Job, which is this quirky little side-scrolling brawler where you're smashing monsters in an abandoned building with over 60 weapons while trying to rescue survivors. It's daft, it's arcadey, and it looks like a perfect I've had a shit day, I just want it things game. In it goes. Amazon Prime's got a decent haul this week too. Total War, Attila, through Epic Games. Which, look, it's a massive turn-based strategy game about a million horsemen destroying Rome. If you got a free weekend and you want to feel like an all-conquering warlord from your office chair, fill your boots. Then there's Tavern Talk on Prime Gaming app. Cozy little visual novel where you run a D&D inspired tavern and drinks you serve literally change your customers' destinies. It's D&D inspired, so obviously I'm going to pour myself a virtual ale and have a read. And last but not least, Rebel Galaxy Outlaw through GOG. Now I don't care what anyone says, this is a Star Wars knockoff. You're flying around space as an outlaw in a blue-collar universe of truckers and thieves and Come on. But it's free. It's on GOG, which means it's DRM free, which means I actually own it properly. None of this, you're licensing a digital experience bollocks. It's mine, on my drive, forever, as gaming should be. That's your free game selection this week. Claim 'em, try 'em, you got naught to lose but a little time. Now right, back to your questions. And this one comes from Benjamin Asensio 8942, who asks, "Hey Scotty, what do you think about younger generations not consuming gaming consoles, nor games other than Roblox or Fortnite?" Benjamin, before I answer this, I need to have a word with you. And I say this with respect, mate, but I need to push back on one word in your question. Consuming. You said consuming. I physically twitched when I read it. I need you to understand something. We are not consumers. Yeah, technically, in a boardroom spreadsheet kind of way, we buy products that make us consumers on paper. But that word, that's their word. That's what executives at Ubisoft and EA call us when they're sitting in glass offices working out how to squeeze another £4 out of a battle pass. How do we get consumers to engage with monetisation vectors? That's how they talk about us. Like we're bloody vending machines they just need to find right button on. We are gamers. That's not a semantic difference. That's an identity difference. Consumers consume. They buy what they're told. They see a shiny advert, open the wallet and don't think twice. Gamers play. Gamers have opinions. Gamers push back. Gamers tell a corporation to shove it when products shit. There's a reason AAA suits hate us and love consumers. Consumers are predictable. Gamers are a nightmare for the profit models. So please, Benjamin, and I mean this for everyone listening, stop calling yourselves consumers. That's doing their marketing for them. Now, to your actual question, kids not buying new consoles, just playing Fortnite and Roblox. And honestly, I don't blame them. Think about it from a parent's perspective, right? You're a mum or dad in 2026. Economy's in bin. Everything costs more than it did last year, and last year everything cost more than the year before. Little Timmy comes running in going, "Mum, Dad, I need a PS5 Pro. It's only £700." And you look at him, and you look at a perfectly working PS4 sat under the telly, and you go, "Does Fortnite work on that?" And he goes, "Yeah." And you go, "Then you're keeping it. Here's a tenner for your birthday. Now bugger off." And that's right answer. Why would you upgrade? If your kid only plays Fortnite and Roblox, both of which run fine on last gen, both of which are free, why on earth would you spend 5, 6, 700 quid on a new hardware? You wouldn't. You'd have to be mental. And cost rents won't buy new consoles. They definitely aren't buying 70 quid games either. So little Timmy's entire gaming diet becomes whatever's free and whatever his mates are playing, which is Fortnite and Roblox. It's a cycle that feeds itself. And here's a bit that should terrify every AAA boardroom. Those kids, that next generation are core gamers. They've grown up in a world where games are free, where you never pay for a game unless you choose to, where a console you bought 6 years ago still does everything you need. When those kids hit their 20s and they've got disposable income, they're not going to suddenly go, "Oh, brilliant, let me spend 70 quid on a single game." They've been conditioned to expect free. And that's a death sentence for AAA pricing models. A slow one, but it's coming. More publishers are going to end up where Ubisoft is, whether they admit it or not. But I've got a whole video coming on that, so stick around. You won't want to miss it. Thanks for the question, Benjamin. And remember, we are gamers. Now we got Ages 444. And he asks, what are your thoughts on Poker Night at Inventory? I'm really ecstatic that they're remastering games since it gives opportunity to people who haven't played game a chance to get it. I just wish that I could support devs since it's not coming to Xbox. Another game that promotes virtual gambling to kids. Yay! Can you hear sarcasm dripping off that? Good, because I meant every drop. Now look, I need to be careful here, because I can already hear people loading up their keyboards going, "Scotty, it's just a poker game with cartoon characters, calm down." And yeah, on surface, that's exactly what it is. Skunk Ape Games, who've done brilliant work bringing back old Telltale stuff. Sam and Max remasters were cracking. They're putting this out on March 5th. Steam, PS4 and Switch. Under a tenner. Not on Xbox, unfortunately, mate. So you might be waiting on that. Though they ported Sam and Max across the 4, so there's a sliver of hope. But it's Peggy 12, ESRB teen, and that's where my problem starts. See, I like poker. I've played a lot of it. Probably too much of it, if I'm honest. Poker Night's got that cartoonish telltale charm. Characters from different franchises sitting around a table cracking jokes. No real money involved, no monetization, no microtransactions. On paper, it's clean, and that part's important. I want to be clear. There's no real-world money changing hands in this game. None. But here's what nobody talks about. Mechanics. Dopamine loop. You sit down at a virtual table, you get dealt cards, you bet virtual chips that mean naught, and then you win. And that win, that feeling, that little rush of, I called his bluff and took everything, that's real. That dopamine hit is real. And then you lose a few hands, and that gnawing feeling of, I need to win it back, kicks in. That's real too. And for a 12-year-old who's never experienced that cycle before, who don't have a frontal cortex developed enough to go, hang on, this is a pattern I need to be careful with. That's a seed being planted. And I know how this sounds. I know it sounds like one of those think at children speeches. And you all know that's not me. I'm not some pearl-clutching politician trying to ban everything fun. I hate that online safety app bollocks as much as any of you. But there's a difference between being sensible and being censorious. You can let kids play card games all day long. I have no problem with that. But when a card game specifically simulates gambling mechanics, a bet, a bluff, a risk, a reward, even if it's wrapped in cartoon banter and there's no real money at stake, it's teaching a behaviour loop that real world will monetize later. And before anyone in comments goes, oh, that's a stretch, that can't happen, I need to say something. Hi, my name's Scotty McGee, and I'm a gambling addict. 20 years clean, and it didn't start with real money, mate. It started with games. It started with virtual stakes that meant naught. Then one day, stakes were real. By then, hook were already set. So when I said this ain't hypothetical, I mean it's not hypothetical for me personally. I've lived it. And I'd rather have this slight uncomfortable conversation now than watch a generation sleepwalk into the same trap because we were all too polite to say out. Cheers for that, and Ages. Can you drop me another one? Ages also asks, who's your favourite actor or actress in film? Right, palate cleanser, because that last segment were a bit heavy. Let's talk about something I love. I got 2 actors and 1 actress all tied at top spot, and they've been there for decades. Nobody's shifting them. First up, Christopher Lambert. And if you don't know why, you don't know me. Highlander, 1986. Conor McLeod at Clan McLeod. I named my oldest lad after that character. That's how deep it goes. That movie is my number 1 of all time. I know entire script to heart. Every single line. I could perform a one-man show at it in my living room, and Jane would have to either applaud or leave. Since seeing Highlander, I've watched everything Lambert's ever done. And I mean everything, even Frenchens. Especially Frenchen. Brilliant actor. Criminally underrated, and I'll die on that hill, armed with a Scottish broadsword. Then there's Keith Sutherland, and yeah, you've probably already guessed why. Lost Boys, my second favourite movie of all time. Kiefer as David, bleached mullet, dangling off railway bridge, going, how far are you willing to go, Michael? Magnificent! Since then, I've followed everything he's done. I love his dad's work too, though Donald has 1 or 2 dodgy uns I won't defend. And then there's Eliza Dushku. And lads, you know exactly how this started. Moment she walked on screen as Faith in Buffy Vampire Slayer, I were done. Finished. Me brain left me body and me jaw it floor. I think she were about 18 and I were 20. My girlfriend at the time could see exactly what were happening. She wasn't happy. She dumped me. That following weekend I were dating her cousin. Which, looking back, might explain why family gatherings got a bit awkward for a while. But that's the story for a different time. Anyway, yeah, Eliza. No stalking involved, obviously. I just followed her career from there. Fun fact, I'd never watched True Lies until I saw her in Buffy. All 4 or 5 years after it came out. So there you go. Lambert, Sutherland, Dushku. Unmovable, come at me. How about you? You have a favourite actor? Let me know in comments. Now, this were a fun to look into for ages. He asks, I need your help and do some detective work. When I first heard of OXTO with Reykjavik's video, I was excited since I seen articles and posts saying it were planned to be released on Xbox. I've waited for years. Did developers scrap Xbox port? Right. Detective hat on. Pipe lit. Magnifying glass art. Scotty McGee's on case. And I genuinely did proper digging on this one because I thought it were a good question and you deserve a real answer. First thing I did was reach out to Nate, developer at Laterally Heavy Industries, directly. Asked him about an Xbox port. Got absolutely no back. So I went hunting. And what I found, after crawling through announcement trailers, press releases and publishing records, is that there were never an Xbox port planned. It were never on table in first place. Original console announcement trailer shows Switch, PS4 and PS5. No Xbox logo. Nowhere. And honestly, once I saw that Super Rare Games were publishing it, that made perfect sense. SRG are a great publisher for indie devs. Proper good at what they do, but they're not exactly Xbox enthusiasts. Their physical releases are PlayStation and Switch only. While they occasionally do digital Xbox stuff, it's rare. Hence name, I suppose. So what are your options, mate? First, grab a cheap second-hand PS4 or Switch. You can find them for next to note these days. Play it there. Second, if you got any kind of PC, even a modest one, it's on Steam, and that top-down shooter genre isn't exactly demanding on hardware. Your third option, which is long game, is wait for next Xbox console, which is basically shaping up to be a PC hybrid that'll play Steam and Epic games natively. That was supposed to be later this year, but it's looking more like late 2027 now, depending on how old RAM shortage situation plays out. Sorry it's not better news, but at least now you know it won't taken from you. It would just never come in first place. Cheers for your questions this week, mate. You do love to keep me on my toes, and I'm here for it. Connor Phelan, 9825 asks, Hey Scotty, what's best game era in your book? Oh, you've done it now, Connor. You've asked a question that could start a war. Because everyone, and I mean everyone, thinks that their era is best era, and they'll fight you to death over it. It's like asking what's best football team, except somehow even more violent. And here's my shocking answer. None of them. And all of them. At the same time. Let me explain before someone throws a snez at me head. If you ask a bloke my age, proper old school gamer who were there in early days, he might say 1980s. Right after industry nearly killed itself in 83. A crash. A rebirth. Arcades rising from ashes. NES turning up like a messiah in a cardboard box. Did have a point. That era were magic. Pure. Uncut. I've never seen aught like this afore magic. I remember it well. I lived it. Staring at a screen going, this is future! While eating crisp on the living room floor with a controller that had 2 buttons, a D-pad, and a sensor infinite possibility. But then someone my younger sister's age would go, nah, 1990s mate. They'd have a point too. 8-bit gives way to 16-bit, 16-bit rolls into 32-bit, PlayStation arrives and rewrites every rule, GoldenEye, Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid, PC gaming finding its feet with Half-Life and StarCraft. We're a golden age for innovation. Then 2000s lot chime in. Xbox is born. Online gaming becomes a thing. Halo changes multiplayer forever. World of Warcraft eats people's lives whole. That very first microtransaction with Horse Armour. It was birth of modern gaming as we know it. Gen Z is going to point at 2010s. Peak COD era. Rise of streaming. Esports going mainstream. Battle Royale becoming a genre. And yeah, there were some absolute bangers in there. Then there's now. 2020s. Current generation. And look, I'll be honest. If I were being a grumpy old bastard, I could point to everything wrong with it. Monetization's rampant. Cheating's grown. Skills been replaced by wallets. And every other game launcher's broken and asks you to pay for privilege or a beta test. Someone with genuine skill gets a clip go viral and comments are split 50-50 between nice shot and cheater, report. Big streamers who are obviously using something dodgy get defended to grave by the fanbase. While same fanbase screams that cheating's ruining gaming. It's hypocrisy so thick you could spread it on toast. But even with all that, even with microtransactions and SBMM and broken launchers and corporate greed, there are still incredible games being made. Indie scene's thriving. Some of the best experiences I've had in gaming have genuinely been in the last 5 years. And that's true of every era. Every single one had its problems and its triumphs. So my answer, and I know it's not a sexy one, is all of it. Stop splitting gaming into eras and ranking them like they're competing against each other. It's all one continuous story. and we're all part of it. From that kid playing Pong in 1972 to a 12-year-old cranking 90 in Fortnite right now. Gaming is gaming. It's all good, even when it's shit. Cheers for the question, Connor. Now, I want to hear what you hoped I'd say. And now we have my mate Pyro Friendly Arsonist 9195, who asks, "Hey Scotty, any new games to look out for?" Right, mate, good question, and I'll be honest, my radar's been fairly quiet. But there's a few worth talking about. If you hadn't already jumped on Resident Evil Requiem, dropped February 27th, and it's already smashing it. Over 320,000 concurrent players on Steam on launch day. It's on PS5, Xbox, PC, and Switch too. You got Grace Ashcroft and Leon Kennedy, switchable between first and third person. Proper survival horror done right. Capcom clearly remembered what makes RE great and stopped pissing about. If it's not on your list already, sort your life out. Neo 3 dropped earlier in February for anyone who enjoys dying repeatedly while pretending they're having fun. And Reanimal's been turning heads in indie space. Looking ahead, Manon is John Carpenter's Toxic Commando, dropping March 12th, 40 quid. 4-player co-op zombie shooter from Saber Interactive, same lot who did World War Z and Space Marine, running on that Swarm engine, so you know org counts are going to be absolutely mental. Hundreds of zombies on screen at once, that kind of madness. John Carpenter himself composed music for it, and he even voices a character, which is just, if you're not excited about John Carpenter scoring a zombie shooter with his own voice in it, I don't know what to tell you. Check your pulse. There were a demo running on Steam from February 19th to March 2nd, so some of you might have already had a go. Beyond that, honestly, not much on my list. I'm not investing in any of them just yet. I'm going to sit back and watch how they perform before I commit my time. Smart, not impulsive. That's how us old gamers survive. Cheers for that, Pyro. Now, you lot have some crackers, and I get to go down rabbit holes I'd never find on my own. So genuinely, thank you for every question this week. Keep them coming. They make my job worth doing. If you've got questions for a future episode, lob them in comments or hit me up on socials. I'll answer them, even stupid ones. Especially stupid ones. Those are my favourites. Now, speaking of worth doing, 2,002 subscribers. Yeah, we lost a few, but it's okay. I started this channel talking to myself like a lunatic in a spare room, and now there's over 2,000 of you choosing to listen to a grumpy Yorkshireman talk about video games. And I'm still a lunatic talking to myself in a spare room. I don't know whether that says more about me or about you, but either way, you're awesome, and I mean that. And to legendary members, backbone of this whole operation, James Lima, Firkinell, Silver Bullet 90, Asian Persuasion, Abapical, and Scotty Seether. Truly appreciated, my friends. You lot keep lights on and coffee flowing, and I don't take that for granted, not for a second. Now, to you. Yeah, you. Don't look away. I can see you. You're part of that 66% who watches these videos, comes back week after week, enjoys them, maybe even laughs at a few, and still anti-subscribe. 66%. That's 2/3 of you lurking like ghosts at a party, eating hot food but refusing to sign guestbook. It's free, mate. It costs you naught. Just a little tap. You won't even feel it. Your finger might actually thank you for exercise. And if you enjoyed this, YouTube reckons you'll love what's showing on screen right now. So go watch that, and I'll see you there, you magnificent.